Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to talk about the massive monumental project that I completed in 2020, what that experience was like, what I learned from it, and hopefully you can learn a few things at my expense. This journey began on March 16th, 2012 when I finished my breakout series, Everything is a Remix. I launched a Kickstarter for a new series called This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory. Here's what I said. It's called This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory, and it's a multi-part series that will explain the major ideas, events, and human quirks that have shaped where we are right now politically. I had no clue what it was, only a very vague direction that I wanted to head in, and it turned out to kind of sort of be that, but it was something way, 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 way bigger and more difficult than what I thought it would be, and I very intentionally made it harder than it had to be. And it would take enormously longer than I thought it would. I thought it would take a couple years, which is how long Everything is a Remix took. But I didn't factor in how long I was developing Everything is a Remix before it launched. Oopsie poopsie. So I thought This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory would take about 2 years, but record scratch, it took 8. 8 years. So it took about 4 times longer than I thought it would, and that timeline haunted me for years to come. It's still a bit of a sore spot for me now. It's embarrassing or disappointing or something. I'm not sure what it is. But anyway, it's fading. I am letting that go. Teachable moment here. When you're working on some big new project that you've never done before, however long you think it's going to take, triple it. That's a good rule of thumb. If you think it will take 3 months, say 9. And if you think it'll be a year, say 3 years. So if I had gotten an accurate estimate and tripled it, that actually would have put me in the right ballpark. But when something is going to take that long, you're probably best off just not giving an estimate and saying it's going to take a long time. Now, of course, I didn't just work on This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory for 8 years straight. Most of that time I was doing other stuff, and life definitely had its way with me. It was a bumpy road. It was a difficult period of time. There were illnesses, there were family struggles, there was financial chaos, lots of bad luck. I mean, nowhere near as bad as some unfortunate people out there, but definitely plenty of bad luck. Overall, looking back on it, it's a period that definitely has some darkness to it. Lots of that feeling was about the personal stuff, but some of it was about the project. The heavy obligation and indebtedness of it weighed on me, and this was made worse by my mistakes. I didn't plan the project well, I didn't manage it well, and it consumed way too much of my time and way too much of my energy. These are still issues for me. These are kind of my defaults. But through that struggle, I grew enormously. I mean, I learned so much from this experience. I launched 2 other much smaller Kickstarter projects, and both those went smoothly because they were scaled manageably. So this is another major takeaway here. When you're launching a big project publicly, keep the boundaries as tight as you can. Think of it as putting it in a box. Like it's going to be this thing, and it's not going to be this zillion other things. I hadn't defined the project enough up front, and I spent the next couple years trying to figure out what it was and wasn't. At the same time, this is what's cool about the finished film. It has a huge, huge, huge sweep to it. It covers an immense range of times and topics. It's a huge journey. It feels like an odyssey. I love the effect that I got. It was just expensive in every way to get. So mistakes were made, it was difficult, and it was entirely worth it. I learned from all these mistakes that I made, and I'm still prone to them, but I correct for them better now. And I raised my storytelling game and my filmmaking game by multiples. And most importantly by far, I transformed how I look at the world. And that's what I was trying to convey in this series, was this different way of perceiving. It's a more modest way of looking at the world where you're not constantly on the hunt for people to blame. It's a less judgmental and angry way of looking at the world. I wanted to redline my imagination, just max out everything. My research abilities, my storytelling, my filmmaking, and mission accomplished, I did it. I pushed myself as far as I could go, and I'm thrilled to have had the opportunity to do this. There was nothing holding me back except for money and resources, but there are no what-ifs about the project. I have no regrets. I did the best I could with it. This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory fueled 7 more big, top-quality videos that I put out in the following year. A few more hours of material. See the show notes for links to those. I'm very proud of these videos as well, and to me, they're part of This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory too. This project will fuel me for years to come. It'll inform everything I do. I think I'm mostly done with conspiracy theories. I said what I wanted to say there, but the systems element of this material is something that I'll be exploring for years to come. Okay, parting words. Sometimes you gotta get lost. You need to go out into the wilderness, out into the unknown. And that's what This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory was for me. I wanted to explore and experiment and find a new worldview that could endure, that I could live in, and that I could build on. Sometimes you gotta get lost. And when you're lost, it's not comfortable and it's not efficient and it's sure not profitable. But what you find there might be in time. We'll see. I am praising the merits of getting lost. And I don't mean like completely lost in life. Think of it as like a small room within your otherwise orderly house. And if you are lost already, try not to be so hard on yourself. I mean, I've been there and I've been hard on myself. But being lost is the place where we make our biggest discoveries. It's where we learn the most profound lessons and we grow the most. Looking back on This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory, I am so proud of what I did. I went for it completely, too far probably. And that's what I love seeing in a project. Like, that is more important to me than whether it's good or not, or whether I liked it or not. Did they go for it? I fully went for it, folks. And the experience renewed me. I feel like I reinvented myself, which is something that you have to do as you get older. You have to reinvent yourself in order to find passion and excitement. So I did that. And what more can you hope to achieve? What more can a person ask for? Aside from getting rich, which would have been great too. All right, so what's next? First thing happening right now is I'm printing Blu-rays and DVDs of This Is Not a Conspiracy Theory. The Kickstarter backers bought these way back in the day. If you want to order one, there's a link in the show notes. Blu-rays are the top quality way to experience the doc. After that, I'm headed back to where all this began. When I finished Everything is a Remix in 2012, I was done with that subject. I said everything I had to say, and I did a few more remix videos here and there. I gave it a minor update in 2015, but I never fully re-engaged with that topic and lived in it for a while like I did back in the day. And this series isn't just by far the biggest thing I've ever done. I also love it. It has a deep place in my heart, and I believe I've honored it by not continuing to grind out content that I wasn't passionate about. And I still believe it. And anybody who knows me knows if I didn't believe it, I would murder it. I would chuck it overboard and keep sailing. So I am rebooting Everything is a Remix, or remixing it. I'm going to tell that story again, but in a different way. Lots of your favorite stuff will still be there, but it'll be loaded with new stuff too, and it'll overall mostly be a new thing. Here's how you can keep up with me so you don't miss anything. I recommend doing all of these things. Links are in the show notes. Come back me on Patreon if you'd like to help me make more videos. If you want to help me keep creating, this is the best way to help. Subscribe to my mailing list to get notified about new videos. I only email occasionally. Subscribe on YouTube, which will be my home base, and follow me on Twitter at RemixEverything. I'm now ready to return to Everything is a Remix, and I can see that material now in a fresh way, through a different lens, and I can approach it with a sense of joy and discovery that I had when I did it the first time. I've already started it, and it looks and sounds insane, absolutely insane. I cannot wait for this thing to exist in the world, and if you love the original one, I think you're going to love this one too. And that process is going to take a while. No predictions from me on how long it's going to be. Thanks for watching, everybody. Next time I see you, we will be back in the land of Everything is a Remix. I very much look forward to seeing you then. Take care. Bye-bye.